disclosure, I had a dream 3 days ago that only 10 people showed up today, and that we had it in like a high school classroom when we were all sitting at a round table. So this is amazing. Thank you for coming out, everyone. My name is Salma Hindy. Some of you might recognize me. I have a 5-star Uber rating because I always bring falafel on my car ride. I'm just kidding. I don't work for Uber, partly because I already have a day job, a sad one, like Todd said, but mainly because women in my religion are not allowed to get their license. So, since I'm not allowed to go out, I spend a lot of my time online. And a few weeks ago, I saw that a lot of my friends had shared this post on Facebook by Humans of New York. Have you guys heard of Humans of New York? Okay, just briefly for those who don't know, it's this super popular online blog where this photographer goes around New York City. He takes candid shots of people and then he like captions it with their thoughts. So the photo that was circulating was of this white lady. You can't see her face though, like it's just her neck down. She has blonde hair. And her caption said, "I know they're up to something. I'm not trying to be racist, but I just know it. There's something going on with the Muslims. There's a lot we don't know about. They want control. They have a game plan." At this point, like my heartbeat starts to rise. I sit up from my bed and a whole bunch of emotions are running through me. I'm confused. I feel attacked. I feel betrayed. I feel left out. I'm like, hold up. This white lady got the memo and I didn't? I am furious. Not at her racism, but at the fact that apparently all of this is being planned while I'm like sleeping in my room. They're up to something and not telling us, honey, that makes 2 of us. So I start like rummaging through my recent thoughts of why I wouldn't have been included. I'm like, wait, is this because I can't handle spice on my biryani? Like, do you think they know? Or is this because I ordered a mild shawarma for the 2nd time at lunch yesterday? Like, why have my people excluded me? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna call up the local mosque. They're gonna have all the answers. So I call them up and I'm like, "Hi, can I speak to the imam, please? This is an emergency." The secretary on the other line goes like, "Yes, we know, sister. All marriage matchmaking requests are an emergency." And I'm like, "What? No, that was my last call. This was about our bigger purpose." And she's like, "Okay, let me check." She comes back like 15 minutes later and she's like, "So the imam's supposed to be in from 9 to 5, but I haven't seen him for the past couple of weeks, and to be honest, I think he took another unscheduled vacation." And that's when I realized that we're way too unprofessional and lazy to be able to take over the world. Like, we don't RSVP to our own weddings and we show up with 30 kids. My friend once slept on her hardwood floor for 2 months because she was too lazy to assemble her IKEA bed. My brother, who's in the audience today, and is terrified that I'm going to point him out, so I won't, but only because I can't see him. My brother once spent half an hour searching for the torrent of a textbook that was in the living room downstairs. So, like, we're not doing too well, you guys. I don't see us taking over anytime soon. Because to come up with a game plan means that we would also have to follow it, and we don't even follow the law seriously. The biggest proof of this are my parents. They're originally from Egypt. They met in university, they got married, and then they moved to Canada in the 70s. And I feel like they've come a long way since moving here. Like, they've adjusted pretty well to life in the West. But something they've always had trouble adjusting to is the seriousness of white people rules, also known as laws. Because in Arab countries, laws are a suggestion. Like, a cop tells you not to smoke. You can offer him a cigarette and then he'll smoke with you. Or if he tells you not to park somewhere, you just like offer him your daughter's hand in marriage. It's fine. Do you guys remember that government census that we had to fill out last year? Yeah. Okay, well, guess who didn't fill it out? My parents. And this lady from Stats Canada has been consistently coming to our house every single week for the past 3 months out of courtesy to remind them to fill it out. And every time time she comes, they like barricade the door and refuse to open. My mom like lost it at the end. She was like, "This woman is stalking me. I know my rights, and if she doesn't stop, I'm gonna call the police." And we're like, "Mom, she is the police." We still didn't fill it out, so I think it's safe to say that Arab parents don't make a mistake just once. They make it 4 or 5 times to be sure. With that being said, I am the 5th child to my Arab parents. Growing up visibly Arab and Muslim in the West, I've had to deal with a lot of stereotype baggage my whole life. But sometimes it's stereotypes in the ways that you don't even expect. So, for example, when I was younger, I think I was around like 12, I broke my nose in the weirdest, most unconventional way. Like, I'm gonna tell you the story and you're not gonna be like, "Oh, I know somebody who broke their nose that way." No, unfortunately not, but after today you will. So I was 12 and I just remember coming home and I was super tired and all I wanted to do was like throw myself onto my bed and on my pillow. So I did that. But I did it in the dark, so I miscalculated where I was doing it. And I like launched myself face first onto the floor, landing all of my body weight onto my nose, completely crushing it. This is a true story. And my sister took me to the hospital, and this was her trying to explain it to the doctor. She was like, well, she was throwing herself on the bed, but apparently there was no bed. And she thought it was hilarious, but I could just see the medical team like signaling to each other, and then I could hear them whispering. They're like, "So do we call the Cultural Barbarics hotline now, or do we just like, do we wait until child services gets here?" And that's when I realized, that's when it hit me, that I can't be clumsy. Like, I don't have the luxury of physically injuring myself without people thinking I'm getting abused at home. I was further reminded of this last week when I was at the GO train station and I was taking the stairs to like get up to the platform where the trains are. And all of a sudden, like while I was walking up the stairs, I kind of like rolled my ankle and fell face forward onto the stairs. And immediately, like the entire GO train station turned around and looked down on me, literally. And I could just see it in their eyes that they felt so sorry for me. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a visible Muslim woman who these people think gets beat up at home by her dad and brothers. So I like quickly got up and tried to hide my limp as I was getting onto the train. And I just want to take this moment to say that twisting your ankle is white privilege. And I feel like this is something that we need to speak about more openly. Because you can take credit for your self-abuse, but I can't. No one will ever question your lack of intelligence when you hurt yourself. But I do it, and then it gets credited to the men in my family. I'm curious, as a feminist, as a female professional, if I finally break the glass ceiling, but I cut myself in the process, will a man still be given credit for that? Or you break your leg, I want you in the midst of that agony to be grateful that you have this privilege of inflicting self-harm without the burden of ruining the reputation of 1.6 billion Muslims on this planet. Thank you.